Hey guys, it's Jan, and today in this video we're going to be covering this thing. This video is going to be the full build guide of my MS body damper Thundershot. If only the camera would focus. Please focus camera, there you go. And this is basically just like the FMS2 full build video that I have, and if you haven't seen that, it should be on the right side of your screen right now. And just to let you know, this video is going to be long. So I've done the same thing as I did the last time. I've separated the sections of the video in this introduction section, so you guys can refer back to the introduction to go back to a specific part of the video that you need to actually watch. Let's say I've divided everything up into, it should start showing up now. First section should be introduction. Second should be the parts. The third should be the chassis cutting. The fourth should be the transmission. Fifth should be the, what do you call it, the front bumper. The sixth should be the rear bumper assembly, and the seventh should be the body damper. And of course, the bottom is going to be the conclusion. So go ahead and start clicking on a specific part that you want to get to specifically, or watch the whole thing in its entirety so you know exactly where to go specifically. And because there's parts on the beginning of the video that you can refer that actually start making sense towards the end of the video. So go ahead and enjoy, guys, and I hope you guys appreciate it. It's a very long video, and I worked hard on this one. Thank you. Okay guys, so this is a section where I'm going to cover the parts that we're going to need for the MS body damper build, full carbon. The, what do you call it? We're going to be using the white MSL, and you're going to need to get the terminal separately from a separate kit because the package doesn't come with it. So the front NO1, NO2 and the tail T01 comes with a package as far as I can remember, and we're going to be using those. Set that aside. So for the carbon pieces, ones that are the most important for you to get, if you could still find them, is the let me see what number it is. Item number 94848. This is actually, this has been used, so you need to cut it so that we can minimize the amount of weight that we need to put on the car. And that's one of the pieces that we need. We're going to need a set of the blue 2mm plate. So this item number 95007, those are going to be where you put the rollers for the front and for the back. This, we're going to be using these basically as a pair. We really only need this to make the shape for this, because we're going to cut off the edges of this because we don't need it to protrude too far out. What we really want is for it to be straight and angled in like this piece right here. So item number 95089, we're going to need one of them. And item number 15452, the FRP plate is enough for you to make the shape. If you have the carbon plate version of it, that's fine too. All you really need to do is follow the shape. And the same thing applies to these two as well. This is item number 95088. What we're going to do is use item number 15451 to make the shape of the plate, because they actually fit on top of each other. And then what you really want to do is to cut off this extra piece right here. You don't really need that. What you want is for it to be straight. These are going to be for the brakes. These are for the bumpers. These are for the brakes at the back. And this mounts to this later on. We're gonna show you this build bit by bit. And technically we're gonna need 3 packages of these, but I only have 2 here because I've already opened one set right here. So 3 packages of the 15495. This is gonna be for the body damper frame. We're gonna need, well, I plan to use the 5 spokes 5-spoke wheel, and you know, these are already pre-trimmed. You don't need to worry about. It's up to you what you want to do and how thick your tires are gonna be, but these are, you know, these are what I have in hand, and I'm gonna keep using them because these are already straight shafts as well too. So if you can find your own straight shaft, these are going to be using 60 millimeters. Use 60 millimeters, or 72 if you want to use 72. That's fine. With it's up to you. You don't have to copy my build exactly. The next piece that we're gonna have is the item number 95074, lightweight 19, the ball bearing rollers. These are gonna be for the front, and these are actually sprint, what do you call it, modified rollers that we got from what do you call it, somewhere in Asia. I can't remember exactly where, but yeah, these are already like pre-done, so that these are going to be pretty smooth when we open them up. And the original item number of the part that we need, that they used to make these, is 15426. So this is a Tamiya part. It's just been modified by a third party, so it's technically still the same part, which, you know, in Tamiya they don't actually frown upon you having modified Tamiya parts, as long as they're still originally Tamiya parts. And then AO620s, the 94389, 2 pairs, so a set of 4 for the whole car. 38 millimeter threaded shaft, 94809. This is where we're gonna mount the rear rollers here. And finally, the fluorine coated gear shaft. This is gonna be for the smooth transmission. Oh, and I almost forgot. I'm gonna be using 3.7 to 1 gear ratio, and that's what do you call it? The yellow gears, the yellow counter gears, and a pair of the AO520s for the gears, and for the counter gears. And that's it, guys. We're gonna, on the next section, we're actually just gonna start cutting into the MSL chassis. We're actually gonna cut the bumpers off here and remove this tail bit right here to lighten it up, and also importantly to cut the section off so that we could have the body damper drop in the right position on the motor. Okay guys, so the first thing that we're gonna do in order to minimize the weight on the MSL center is to bend the tabs over here. These are the push tabs to remove the battery. Well, we're just gonna remove them because we don't really need the plastic and they're just extra weight. So in order for you to do that, I want you to get a flat head, and then you see this gap right here in between this line right here and the tab. I want you to push this in for now to start the bend. There you go. Slowly. You see how it's bending at that point. Now I want you to continue by hand now. And then there you go. It should bend now. You push back this way. Okay, sometimes when you bend it, there's going to be a little bit of plastic left on the edges, so I want you to cut a little bit off, and then later on use a file to flatten it. Okay, so it's going to look like that, like this. Just make sure you, if you need to, you should file some more. Okay, it should look flat like that. Basically, after you remove the tab, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay guys, so that's what it's supposed to look like when you don't have the tabs. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the housing basically around the chassis around here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna tape it up first, so that you could see where I'm going to cut the lines. Okay, guys. So if you take a look at the edge of the what do you call it, the push tab area that we cut out from before, you're gonna see that there's a line here. So this line goes straight down and goes this way, and then it goes straight down again. Okay, what I want you to do is to look for the edge on this side right here and this side right here. That's where we're going to limit the edge that we're going to go cut. So here I'm going to show you guys where I'm going to go put the tape right here. Use the edge. Use the edge of the tape as your guideline, so that you know that you're not going to go beyond that line. Right here. Check the edges again, make sure that it's straight. One side looks like it's a little bit lower, and the other. Okay, so that's the edge that I'm talking about, where the where that line over here meets it, and then that line over there meets it too, because they're basically a parallel, what do you call it, they both end on a line right there as well. So if you look, there's going to be a little bit of extra tape right there. I think this is about 1 millimeter thick right there, and that's how you want to tape up that edge. I'm gonna do the other edges too. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go follow the parallel lines. You see where the line is over here? We're gonna need that as a reference point. Okay, we're gonna cut from here. We're gonna use this edge, make a straight line from there to here, but we're gonna make sure that the straight line is flattened. That's how we're going to make sure that the cut is going to be even from this side to this side as well. So you want to follow the flat edge of the battery holder right here. You want to make sure that your lines are parallel, but keep this edge in mind too. So that's where you're going to start the tape and then make it past the other side, because it actually doesn't match from this edge to this edge. Okay, so when you finish the taping over here, you make sure that your tape wraps around to this edge right here, and so it does the same thing over here on this other side. So see where the edge is right there? That's where I have the tape end, and then you make sure that it's a straight line from here to here, like that basically. Now we're gonna go tape on this side. What we need to do is follow this edge and then tape across it too, from here to here. Make sure you have enough for it to wrap around the edge as well, to these flat sides, to these curved sides I mean. Okay, so you can see where, mostly see where we want to cut from here. Okay, so the line, make sure that it's straight when you're taping it up. And when you're cutting, try not to hit the tape itself, because that's what you want to do is you want to keep whatever's behind the tape as a part of the chassis. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go follow this line, and then we're going to go tape over it, and then make it from here to here. And then the same thing goes for here. You want to follow this top line right here, and then tape on the edge over here, over the latch catch, and then make your way from here, from this side to the other side. Okay, that's what it's supposed to look like. It's okay if you don't tape over completely the the catch over here. As long as you follow the straight line when you're cutting, you're gonna be good. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you can get it as close to perfect as you can, then that's always ideal. There you go. Tape on the edge of the line right there, and then tape across. Make sure that it's straight. It looks like mine isn't perfectly straight. We're gonna go fix that. Okay, that's better. Make sure that it's angled like that. And now what we're gonna do first is we're gonna cut from this line to that edge and here as well. Okay, so at this point I recommend that you put on a mask and some safety glasses so to prevent any issues that you might have in terms of safety. You know, you don't want the piece of plastic going into your eye. So just follow the lines that you had, basically for that you've taped off. Try not to cut onto the the tape that you've put on. What you want to do is cut around the tape. Okay guys, so that is the result of the cut. What you want to do is if you see any excess plastic that's still set on the chassis itself, what you want to do is you want to file it down. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay guys, so now that we've reduced the weight, this is what it's supposed to look like. Nice straight lines around here, over here as well. So let's see if we could fit some batteries in here and show you guys what it's supposed to look like. These are regular end loops. And the good thing about the way that I cut it is that you could still see the terminal. So I know to put the negative there and the positive over here, and everything still fits, and your batteries are not gonna fall out as long as you secure it properly later on with the what do you call it? With a battery holder. Oh. It's actually easier if you put it in the right way. Right here. There you go. See? There you go. Now the next part that we're gonna go cut is the center right here, because we need the body damper to land on the motor. I'll show you guys how to cut this piece right here. And we're just gonna use a cutter, a basic cutter, so you won't really need any specific tools over here. So, you see these two pieces right here, they're matched by two more pieces over here, like that, right? These are the support, basically like beams on the side of the plastic. What you want to do is you want to cut as close to the edge of this piece right here as possible. So like that, cut that, like that, and that's it. And then you do the same thing here. You want the edge of the cutter to follow the edge of the piece, and then you cut it like that. And then over here in the center, what you want to do is you cut all the way to these two support beams over here in the center. So make sure that you're flush against that, and then cut like that. Okay, now here you're gonna do the same thing, except what we're gonna do is cut this piece and this piece off. So here, first, be flush against this line when you're cutting the cutter with the cutter. There you go. And then over here, you cut that like that, and then you should be able to remove that piece that was here. Then you do the same thing for this piece. Cut like that, and then cut like this, and then that you should be able to remove that piece like that easily. Now, the reason why we cut that first is that we're making it easier for us to cut this piece off right here and here. And once you do that, you can cut this piece off right here as well. So when you're cutting again, make sure you follow the edge of the cut with the edge of the cutter. So like that. And then from over here, I'm going to do the same thing. Follow the edge of the cutter like that. And now, as you can see, these have been cut off, but there's really only one missing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go follow the edge over here, or you could cut it this way as well, like that, so that you're cutting flat up against these pieces right here. So I'm gonna do that, and that should be it. That's how you cut the pieces off, and you don't need to worry about it. So the way that it'll now sit is like that. And since it's the reinforced white piece anyway, this one's a lot tougher, and it's going to flex. I want you to make sure that whenever you're removing this piece to get to the motor, don't force it and don't rush it. It's easy to remove, so when you're removing, make sure that you've removed this piece first later on. Once you do that, you lift, and then you release the latch, and then that's it. So you shouldn't have to force the issue whenever you're cutting that. So right now we're gonna go clean it up by filing the edges of the cuts. So there you have it, guys. That's how you want to cut the center cover for the motor. And you put that in. It's supposed to still stay latched easily, like that. Let's get some batteries and put that in so you can see the shape. Oh, the other way. That's why it wasn't fitting. There you go. The motor is going to sit in the center. Actually, I'll complete it and put the motor in as well so that you could see how well it'll fit. Like that. So the motor is going to be exposed over here. That's where you want the mass damper to drop. Like that. See? Like this. Now we're going to go do the front bumper. What we're going to do is we're going to cut the front bumper so that we can make it bumperless. What that does is that we're going to lighten the chassis by a little bit. And you know, always lightening the chassis is always going to give you a little bit of an advantage in terms of weight. And it'll give you better acceleration and better cornering, and even a little bit better braking as well, because your car is lighter, and that means it's easier to brake when your car is lighter. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the edges off first. So you see the edge of the mount for where you're gonna screw this edge right here. We're gonna follow that edge from this side to this side. We're gonna tape it up so that you're gonna go see where I want you to cut if you're gonna cut first. What we're really doing is we're minimizing the amount of cuts that we need to do later on. It'll make it easier for us to cut this piece off later by removing the edges here first, because it'll give us more room to cut. So we're gonna tape it up first. Tape over the edge of the place where the screws usually come in. So you're gonna tape it over, make it disappear like this, like that. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing to this side. I'm going to tape over it so you could follow the line. Okay, so when you tape, make sure that you make it so that the screw mounts disappear over what the tape covers the screw mounts. So you're going to go cut along the line that we just made right here. Okay, so follow the lines when you cut. Okay, this time we are going to tape, and we're going to cut the this front edge off. What we're actually going to do is you see the edge of the holes. That's where you want to tape to. So I'll show you. Because we want to just cut the front edge off and not the whole bumper. What we want to do is we want to keep the catch right here, the body catch from the front. So you take the position of the hole, and then cut to that. Don't cut beyond the line, okay? Alright, so cut a straight line from there to there. Make sure that you're not covering too much of the hole or the edge of the hole. Only the edge, okay? So now if you get a little bit of the edge, if you still get a little bit of the hole, that's fine. What you could do is you could cut a little bit more. Just make sure that you're flat when you're cutting. So that's what we're gonna do. We're basically We're basically gonna grind to the hole. Okay, so when you look at this flat base right here, what you want to see is for the screw hole to disappear. So we're gonna go file it some more. And the way I cut, you don't have to cut the way exactly I do, but this is how I like to cut. Okay, so what you may find later once you're putting in the stay, the what do you call it? The front roller assembly, that it might be right up against this piece, and that's what you really want it to be. You want this piece to support the front, what do you call it? Front roller stay that you're gonna be building. This is so the 2mm lane, 2mm carbon plate is going to be resting right up against this piece. And what that does is that it's gonna support the piece so that it doesn't bend backwards when it's running, and it's gonna keep everything straight. So I'm just gonna finish filing everything. Okay, there you have it. That's what the front bumper is supposed to look like. Okay, so the way that you cut this piece doesn't really matter, so we don't really need to tape up a lot of stuff. The key thing for you to do is to cut these two pieces off first, so that it's easier to manage when you're cutting. Because what you want to do later on is for you to come in at an angle and cut the edge off over here. And in order for you to do that, what you need to do is cut the roller mounts here off. So I'm just gonna go cut until the important part that needs to be emphasized is reached. So what we're gonna do is start the easy stuff off first. Okay, now that we've cut off the back, basically, what you want to do is you want to cut straight down from the cylinder. You see how there's a cylinder right here? Basically a column, something that's where the this piece goes onto, right there. What you want to do is you want to cut from the edge of the column. Don't cut the column itself, the edge of the column. You want to go straight down as much as you can. So I'll show you how to do that. Here you go, guys. When you cut, try to make it so that it's straight. Right there, you want to keep the column intact. Try not to damage it. So what you're really only doing is you're taking off this extra piece right here on the back. So we're going to do that to the other side as well. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to file it down. Just to get rid of the sharp edges. Okay, so it's supposed to look like this. Make sure that the column, basically the circle, the cylinder, is basically fully intact. The only thing you gotta do is you just trim off the edge without actually getting to the cylinder, if you know what I mean. Alright, now we can go test fit it. You can see where it's supposed to go. Like this. Okay, now that we're here, I actually got to point out to you that what you can, if you want to, you could actually cut off this piece because you're not really going to need it. We're going to use it as body damper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. We're going to go cut off this piece right here. There you have it, guys. Now it's bumperless MSL, basically from original and NO2 and T01 as well. Okay, so let's fit this in here. There you go. Actually, I almost forgot. What you want to do is cut off these screw mounts right here. Just make them flush with this flat surface right here. So what we're gonna do is actually I could use the so there you go. That's it. I almost forgot about those pieces, but cutting those pieces off, the ones that are like protruding from the top, you will at some point run into clearance issues with the body damper, so cutting that off is going to be paramount. Okay guys, sorry about the noise. That's the high-tech charger going. That's the fan when it heats up. Anyway, because of the nature of the MS chassis where there's pieces that are separate from the main body and the main centerpiece, you can't just screw things in and then like have to work on them later, because that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna mount the bumper over here later like this, right? And the problem with that is when you mount it, you're going to have the issue of like if you need to put the transmission in, you can't. So you're gonna have to remove it and then pop it back in. So the actual order in which you want to work things through for MS is to put the transmission in first before you start working on the front bumper. So we're gonna go do that first, and in order to do that, we gotta soak the AO620s and the 520s. So we're gonna go ahead and open that. We're gonna put them. I'm gonna blast them first with CRC. That's what I use to blast my ball bearings, because sometimes it's hard to find some of the other cleaners. So these ones are readily available in Harbor Freight, and they work just fine for my purposes. So we're gonna go do that. Open these up. I'm gonna blast them first before I put them into the soak, the the lighter fluid bottle. Okay, what we're actually gonna do now is soak them first and then blast them later, right before I put them in. Now we're gonna soak the AO620s. I'll take them off to see what we can do. Okay, so what we're gonna do is put in the terminals first. I like to put in a stock motor to see exactly how quiet it will be, because you know that since you have less power on the stock motor, if you notice that how quiet the transmission would be on a stock motor, you'll notice that it's actually going to be quite quiet also on a higher power motor. So that's what I use to basically test the sound. I usually keep it in until I actually need to race, and then I'll switch over to whatever motor it is that I need to use. So now we're gonna go find some spur gears to use for this car. Okay, looks like we've found some. What we're gonna do is clean them first. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're just going to test fit the gears to see where they sit on the area where they're supposed to be in, and how wide. Let's see if they shake too much. Okay, so we're gonna start fitting the ball bearings and the gears in. Okay guys, so what I just did was file the edge of the gear over here, right around this hole on one side, and made it so that the gear becomes flush with the piece over here that catches it and keeps it in the center. So what that does is that it's going to make it so that the gear does not wiggle a lot, and I'll show you guys how that works. And the only thing that the grease does is it makes it so that the small washer, the small washer that you guys see from what do you call it, parts and kits, well, mostly parts, you're less likely to find them when you're getting them from model kits. What that's gonna do is that it's gonna make it so that it's tight. The gears are gonna be tight and that they don't wiggle in place. So when it's running, it's going to be smooth. Okay, so I finished fitting the gear with the extra washer right there. Okay, so not bad. Pretty good. Okay, so it's time to put in the counter gears, and we're gonna go and open up the fluorine coated shafts. Okay, so the transmission is now done. The next part that we're gonna work on is the front bumper. Okay guys, so we're gonna do the front bumper next, and I've already gone through some of the steps before from my old builds. We're just gonna cover them real quickly to save time. The what do you call it? The wide front ARP plate, the carbon, not the carbon version, but the FRP version, is basically used to just become a template for the shape. So we're gonna reuse one of the old ones that I have instead of having to recut one of the old ones that one of the new ones that I have, I mean. So we're gonna use that to use as a template for the shape that we're gonna need. And this is the angled FRP plate that we're gonna use to angle the roller mounts. And I've already covered how to do this, and if you want to watch the video where I actually covered this, how to make it, this is the FMS2 full build video. If you click on the upper right corner of the screen, you should be able to see how this is made in the same section that we're actually going through now for this particular build. And it's very simple. You just need to put it on a plate, maybe of wood or metal or anything that's actually just a hard plate, and then you use it to file, and then you tape it onto that plate, and then you use sandpaper to actually get the angled piece. So we're just gonna do the cutting on this piece right now, and we're gonna mount the bumper. So what we're gonna do is screw this plate over the other plate, and then we're gonna follow the lines. Okay guys, note the positions of where I put the nuts and the screws through. I suggest that you follow the same positions of where I put them in. This will keep them all in on the same line and make it so that it's straight when you're cutting through it. And make sure that all of your holes are lined up properly before you start tightening. So we're gonna tighten now. Okay, I would just want to do a quick cover of the shape. When you first cut this piece right here, the FRP plate, what you want to do is you want to follow the line of the straight line from here to here when you're cutting it out. Okay, that is the most important thing you want to do. Just make sure that it's straight. There are some builds that you actually want to keep this piece in, but what I like to do is I like to cut this off because it's a little unnecessary and it's just extra weight. So just follow the line, and that's all you really need to do. This piece is this actual carbon piece is stronger than the old 1.5 millimeter AR wide plate, so we're gonna use this for this build. Okay guys, so this is what it's gonna look like, but you're not completely done because you're gonna run into some issues with the screws later on. So when you put this in, the screws may or may not have any clearance issues from under the plate. So what you want to do is you want to grind a little bit of the edges over here and edge over here, so that you make sure that there's isn't going to be a clearance issue with the screws later on. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay guys, so if you observe, the piece is curved slightly inward now, and that will allow you to give room for the screws as you put them in later. Okay, on this next part, it's the simplest part. You just need to thread the screws through so that we could actually do the angled plate. Excuse me. So this is a 2x10 screw. We're gonna thread it through this hole and this hole right here. And then we're gonna put spring washers right here and over here. What that's gonna do is that's gonna keep the bumper from sliding backwards or forwards, whichever direction you don't want it to slide over. Now you're gonna put the plate in. This is the easy part. Okay, good. Now you're also gonna put in spring washers again, just to make sure that they're not gonna move out of place. And then lock nuts. And there you have it guys, this is with the plate. And this is one of my old plates, which is about 5 degrees. It's gonna be hard to tell. And what we're gonna do next is the underguard. Actually gonna quickly cover what it is. The underguard is a 2-piece 1.5 millimeter like glued together piece. and what you want to do is grind the two edges over here so that the screws become countersunk. And the countersunk screws, these black screws right here, you actually get these from the MS bumperless kit. The what do you call it? N03 T03, if I remember correctly. And once you grind the holes down far down, it becomes a countersunk piece. So you could actually put the screws in and without having to worry about the front underguard grinding too much with the screws, because the screws will sink into the plate. That's why they're called countersunk. And now we're putting it in. Make it easy. Tighten the nuts. And what you're gonna notice is that when you countersink, most of the time, the pieces are going to tighten themselves. Okay, guys, there you have it. That is the complete front bumper for the MS chassis. And in order to save time, I'm gonna mount it before the next video. Okay guys, so the next thing that we're gonna do is work on the 19mm HG rollers for the front. And in order to get that done first, we're gonna have to clean them first, so we're gonna get that going. Okay guys, so we'll be using 30mm screws for the front rollers. Don't forget to do that, otherwise the stabilizers will be a little too short. So always use as long as, what do you call it, at least 30mm screws at the front whenever you're making a front roller assembly, at least in my opinion, so that you have less chance of tipping over or like, what do you call it, turning over when you're racing. Okay guys, so there you have it. That's the front roller assembly finished. The way that I have it built is a 30mm. Under is a spring washer. Immediately over the 2mm plate is another spring washer. The spacer for the 19mm roller. The roller, another spacer. This is a long spacer. I don't remember how thick it is. I think this one is this one up here is 3mm. Another spring washer. The stabilizer right here, and the black lock nuts. That's at least what I have right there, and it's exactly the same for the right side as it is for the left side, so it's easier to build once you have the first one done. Okay, so the next part that we're gonna do is the work on the back stays. Okay, so the first step to making the rear mount plates is to cut the part. I can't remember the name. I'll Google it and probably post it up on the video somewhere around here somewhere, and you guys will see the item number. And it's pretty easy to cut. I shouldn't really have to show you guys how to cut this. I've already done this on other videos as well. What you need to do is you need to cut the edge of the plate over here so that it's still a lot of there's still a lot of the hole, and basically you need to make it so that you don't cut too closely to the edge over here and cut too close on the same side as well too on the other side. so that you can leave as much strength on the piece as you possibly can. And that's basically it. You want to cut the wings off because we're gonna have the 2mm plate mounted this way, like that, and it's going to go on the back right here. Alright? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and first mount this over here on the back. And while we're here, what I like to do sometimes is to run some, what do you call it, screws over here on the holes right there. What it'll do is it'll stiffen up the connection between the nose and tail sections with the center chassis. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's see how that works out for us. Forget to use some washers. I use the rounded 5mm screw with the normal washers. Okay, so I ended up removing the these like weird crown washers because it looked like I wasn't gonna have clearance later on when I put the brakes in, so I left it out, and I like the way that this is sitting a little bit better. So we're gonna go see how it works out later on and mount the roller stays here for now. Okay, so in this step, we are going to mount the rear rollers to what do you call it? To this to the 2mm plate, and we're gonna go ahead and open these packages up. And as far as I know, these rollers are supposed to be very good right from the get-go. So we're gonna go ahead and test them first and see what they're like before we put them onto the what do you call it? Onto the plates. Okay guys, so take a look. Okay, so it does look like these are very good. So we're gonna go continue on with the rest of the build. Okay, so we're gonna be using the 38mm threaded shafts to mount these rollers to the 2mm stay. Okay guys, so we are now going to mount the 4 rollers to the back, to the bumpers, to the rear bumper, and we're gonna need at least 2 30mm screws and some spring washers, 2 of them for the under, and we're gonna go from there, and I'm gonna go cover the exact order in which the parts need to go in. Okay, so I will show you guys the way that I have the assembly built over here now that we've installed the 2mm plate. Run the 30mm screw from under. Okay, both sides. There's gonna be a spring washer here that is gonna be on this plate. There's gonna be a 1.5mm spacer right over this plate right here, and there's a spring washer over that. The 2mm plate goes over that, and then another spring washer and a what do you call it, a nut goes over it, and it's the same on both sides. So that's how I have it built, so that to keep everything even. And the next step, what we're going to do is build the rear brakes. We're going to be using this. Okay, so we're going to do this exact same thing that we did earlier for the front bumper of the car, which is use the FRP plate to shape the carbon plate that we're going to be using as the brakes. So we're going to go ahead and do that. If you guys remember how to do that, I shouldn't really need to worry about covering this area, but we're still going to go through how it's cut, and we're going to continue on, and I'll start explaining it once I'm about to cut it. Okay, just like before, if you look at the way that I had the pieces sandwiched together and screwed together, what we only really need to do is cut off the extra carbon over here and over here. So we're just going in a straight line, following the edge of the FRP over here, and follow that into this portion, and then stop over there and let the piece fall out. And that's really all you need to do. That's really the only thing you need to do, because all the edges over here still match the same corners. And even then, what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut off the 19mm hole off from both sides, from here and from here. Okay, so we're going to go do that. Okay, now that we've cut the edges off over here, we're going to go cut the hole off, the 19mm hole, because this is the... Okay, let me point stuff out. 19mm, 13, 11, 9, and 8. So what you want to do is you want to cut off the hole itself. So not past the hole, just up to the edge of the hole, okay? Because you want to keep as much as a piece of this of the carbon as possible, because it'll keep it stronger. Okay guys, now I've finished the brake, cutting it up, and what we're going to do now is we're going to mount it to the back of the car over here on these two holes. So grab yourself some 2x8mm screws and put them in. That's basically it for the brakes. I'm going to show you now how it fits to see if it's close to what I wanted. There you go guys. So very close to the edge over there. So we have about, let's see, a 1.5mm clearance on the back. after that's done. So that's pretty close to the edge, and this is pretty good. There's times when it won't get as close to the edge as possible, but this is pretty good the way that I have it built. Okay, there's a little bit of room, but it's very close. Okay, now we're gonna finish up the backstay. We're gonna mount the mass damper mounts, basically, and also put in the connections so that the body damper is gonna sit directly past this line over here, and I'm gonna start doing that. Okay guys, so the screw, I don't even remember how long this is, maybe like 2x15 or something, or 2x20. Spring washer again, and the nut here, the spacer, I don't remember exactly which spacer this is, but it looks like this, and the nut over here, and I mirror that. And that's it. Now the next piece is basically the body damper. Okay, so in order to work on the body damper setup for MS, because it's going to be a little different from, you know, your regular rear motor car, a little bit different, not a lot. The first thing you need to do is you need to fit everything so that I could show you guys where everything is going to drop and where everything is going to connect. Excuse me. So you need to open two packages. I've already opened one. The first one was from the unboxing video of these things, and another one. So that's two packages now. The other package, you're really only gonna need one of them, because you're gonna need to build the this piece right here, the undercatch. Yay for popsicles! Cutting. Okay guys, so it looks like the fit is good. You won't need to worry about the shake as much. Make sure that everything is straight. Okay. Now that you've fitted the body damper, the first thing that I want you to cut is these off. So this piece and this piece. Okay, now that you have cut that, check the drop again, the way that it drops. There you go. So right now you have a little bit of a nice swing. Also check that the screws over here on the back are straight, because that will determine how straight your body damper is going to perform. See, right now when you're dropping the body damper, it's hitting the cover over here, the battery cover. And what you want to do later on is we're going to go cut around that battery cover so that it doesn't hit it, and so that this centerpiece is going to drop on the motor instead, and that's where you want it to drop for balance sake. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go cut these two edges right here, this piece and this piece, basically the same thing that we've cut over here on this edge, except it's going to be a little bit longer. Actually no, it's going to be the same length. Okay, so we're going to go cut this and this. Okay, so now what that does when you cut that is that the popsicles aren't gonna rest on the battery catch over here. Now they're mostly leaning on the battery catch over here on this side. So we're gonna remedy that by making it so we bypass the battery cover here on the edges. And now, before we do that, we're actually gonna cut off the 19mm hole on the edges over here, because we don't need it. Okay, just the hole. We don't need to go further in after that. Okay, now we're gonna cut off the extra hole over here on the edge, because what we're gonna mount is we're gonna mount the catch on the hole that's actually closer to the center, if you look at the way it is. And by the rules, anything protruding out that might hit the side of the wall is not legal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that off, and also it's going to make it so that it's a little bit lighter as well. So just to the edge of the hole, not further in, so that you can retain as much strength in the carbon fiber piece. Okay, so that's how it's gonna look. Let's bring the car back. Oh, the dirt is on that side too. Okay. There you go, slowly. It's starting to look more like the way that I want it built. Cut the edges off over here, and the edges off over there, because you don't need them. And the edges off over here for the clearance issues with the battery lock. And now we're going to disassemble this piece, and we're going to put these two pieces together, the two longest pieces now. We're going to sandwich them together, and we're going to go cut off the holes, so that when you do that, it'll bypass the battery cover over here on the back. Okay, so right now what we have is the center arm, the one that's going to drop with the motor catch, with a motor basically on the motor, and this is the rear center support. And later on we're going to do some trimming on these two to make them a little bit lighter. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And what we're going to do with these two is that we're going to sandwich these two together, and we're going to cut the holes off. So now that you saw the way that I have the pieces oriented, they're both facing the same direction with the same orientation with Tamiya, the logo basically over, like, facing up. What you want to do in order for them to stay in the same orientation with the way that you had them before, like this, like that, what you want to do is you want to do this on top of each other, right? This side is going to be on the right, on the left side of the car, like this, right? And what you want to do is you want to cut this hole out. So we're going to screw these two pieces together first, and then I'm going to show you how to cut them. Now before you start cutting, you want to make sure that they're even in terms of the position in relation to each other. That's before you tighten. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this end. Tighten this end as well. Now, while you're here, I want you to file this edge over here to make the match. Okay. So remember, this is going to be on the left side of the car. So what you want to do is cut this hole from this side, from above the Tamiya, logo. Okay, so come in at an angle. Okay, now that you've come in at an angle at that piece, what you want to do is come in at an angle to this hole right here too. Now what you want to do is you want to cut the holes off and make a straight line from here to that edge over there. Okay, now you want to keep cutting so that the holes, the edges of the holes disappear, so that it's uniform on both sides, from underside and from the top. Okay, so these two pieces are now done. We're going to separate them so you can see what they're supposed to look like. We're going to try to separate them so you can see what they're supposed to look like. That's what it's supposed to look like. This over here. And then that over there. Okay, but before that, what we're actually going to do is we're going to go trim these two pieces so that these are going to be lighter. And in order to do that, we are going to layer them on top of each other to expedite the cutting process. Okay, like I was saying, what we're going to do is we're going to trim this piece so that it's lighter. And that's really the only thing that we're going to do for this piece. So we're going to follow the holes that are in the center of the piece, right? And we're just going to hollow it out in the center so that it's going to lose a little bit of carbon there, but it's still going to retain most of the strength that it had naturally. And that's really the only way that I like to trim the pieces. just to hollow them out in the center. Okay guys, so this is what it's going to be like when you've mostly finished the build. You're gonna have this under. These are gonna go like that. And this is gonna go over like that. So let me check if I still have time. Then I might try and assemble it. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna try and assemble the body damper setup. Okay guys, there it is. That's the body damper. Now what we need to do is finish the side catch over here. Now we're gonna build this piece right here. Okay. Okay, so this next piece is going to be the side catch for the body damper system, and I have this pack, but I'm actually just gonna save this pack because I actually realized I still have one more piece that's actually what we could use. So we're gonna take this apart and we're gonna use this piece instead, because this is basically used anyway, so I'd rather just use an old piece rather than open up another package. Okay guys, so the cut of this piece is actually pretty simple. What you need to do is cut through the center of this piece right here, cutting the hole out. So you're essentially splitting this in two, so we're gonna go and do that first. It's supposed to look like that. Now we're gonna go cut the hole on the other piece too, so that they match. Now we're going to screw them together so that when we're cutting them on this end, they're gonna be the same. Okay, so when you adjoin them, what you want to do is put the screws on the two holes that are that are closer to the center, because these two holes at the end you won't need anymore. What we want is for the catch, like this, to protrude from the side and towards push towards the front of the car, so that the mass dampers are going to be over here on this side, right here. Okay, now we're going to cut the two extra holes off. We're going to try and match the distance from this nut to the edge, so we're going to do that. Okay, now that we've made the piece that we're going to use to catch the mass dampers, what we are going to do is to countersink the surface, so that you could drop the mass dampers all the way close to 1 millimeter as possible. Now let's remove let's disassemble this. Now in order to countersink the pieces, all we really need to do is use a grinder bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Switch to the grinder bit. Hopefully I could find it. Okay, so there you have it guys. Both of these pieces are now countersunk. You see the screw is basically gone on this edge right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mount the side catch to the main mass damper frame. Get this pile of dust out of the way. Okay guys, so I've already finished the mounting of the side catch for the mass dampers, and the clearance of it is about like 2 millimeters, a little bit less than that actually. Okay, so now what we want to do is connect install some screws over here that's also going to be what do you call it, countersunk. Oh, that's right. Before I forget, the order in which I have this built is, let's see. This is the 3mm spacer, before I forget. So, the screw, um, spring washer, 3mm screw, and I think this is, I'm not sure. It's just these spacers. I'm sure you guys have seen them. Spring washer, another spring washer here, and then a nut. And then the same is applicable for the other side as well. Okay guys, so I've now finished putting in the screws for the mass damper mounts on the side. Now we're gonna tighten these here. Use the poly caps that you get from the stabilizer, underhead stabilizer set. Now I figured out where you can get them from because I found them in my stuff. And springs over here. These are stiff springs. We'll get some washers. Remember the black rubber that I told you guys to save from the beginning of the video? Well, this is what we're going to use to keep the mass dampers in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut them up into little pieces. Going to need 4 pieces in total. Anything that's not straight like this, you see how this is a little bit angled? Cut it off so that it's straight. So what we want is 4 pieces, probably about like 2 millimeters thick. They don't have to be exact. The reason why we're using these is that these are lighter than using ball caps. So when you do this, you're gonna save some weight. However minuscule, any weight that you save is always good. Okay. Now we're gonna see what kind of mass dampers we could put on this thing. Okay, so now we're gonna put in the mass dampers. Okay guys, so there you have it. This is the full build of the MS body damper. And actually what we should do is we're gonna go and weigh it. Let's see how much it weighs. See if it's light enough. It's still probably pretty heavy. I'm guessing it's probably around 125 grams, or ideally if I could get it to 120 I'd be pretty happy, but I don't think so. Let's see. Right now it doesn't have a body, so it's not a complete representation of what the weight is going to be. We're gonna go check it anyway. Okay, so let's go weigh this car and see how much it weighs. Let me rotate that so you guys can see the numbers. Okay. So, let's see how much it weighs. Yep, 124. And this isn't even complete yet. So, I didn't lose much weight when I ended up converting over to carbon, because I don't think I ended up cutting a lot of stuff out. I kept quite a bit of weight. Because I'm not using the MSL what do you call it, the nose, the bumperless nose and the bumperless tail. So that may have been the biggest contributing factor to me not losing much weight when I convert over. But consider that it's gonna be like 3 grams more once I put the body in, so it should be around 127 when it's done. Okay guys, so this has been my build of the MS body damper setup. If you would like to see more videos like this, please like, subscribe, and share, and thanks for watching guys. Go race.